Okay, I got a first question.
All right, we're rolling and Randy, go right ahead. You got the first question.
Keisha, could you discuss what we were just talking about just a few seconds ago, please, my dear? That was brilliant.
Yes. So we were talking about how beautiful it would be if from March onwards, humans decided to all shave their heads together. We have this movement of let's just get rid of our hair on our heads together. And then the other thing is, wouldn't it be so lovely, as this elder said to me, if we all decided to take the beautiful Jesus Christ off of the cross for eternity? I think that I would love, I mean, if I was that body on a, I feel like I would get very tired hanging out that way. So I feel like we could alleviate him from that position and bless the rest of his existence and memory by taking him off indefinitely. Indefinitely.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks for asking.
Well, that's actually a great way to kick this off because the theme that we had created earlier this week was what are your current challenges and what is showing up for you inside of that challenge? So we all have crosses to bear. What is your cross? What is your current cross that you would like to step down from? Does anyone have anything? Ida.
So, hi, I kind of did a video about mine recently. And I just want to add to it because as I move through this and process it, more things come, right? More understanding. So what was triggering me and what has been triggering me is the whole idea of the bypassing. Like bypassing what's happening in the present moment because it may be uncomfortable. And I'm noticing when that's happening, I can see it outwardly, but I thought this means I have to turn it around and look at myself and say, what am I bypassing? What am I emotionally bypassing? And I'm seeing it on the outside. Now let's turn it around and ask my own self, okay, this is about me bypassing, not everybody else, me. So what am I bypassing? And you'll notice the light keeps going like brighter with me. My aura, I'm only kidding. I don't know. It's a mechanical thing that's going on. I was going to say it's my aura. See, there it goes. It's my aura.
It is.
So I turned it around and said, okay, I'm bypassing something. So what does that mean? And you know what I figured out it meant? I am abandoning something within myself that I'm uncomfortable with, that I'm not sitting in, that I'm not allowing to process. So it went from, oh boy, everybody's bypassing emotionally, they're driving me crazy, to turning it around to, okay, I know that's about me emotionally bypassing. What am I bypassing? And oh my God, I know what it is. It's all this uncomfortable emotional stuff around the all and oneness and unity and blah, blah, blah. And I've abandoned myself. That's what the bypassing is. So I thought, okay, hallelujah. I've understood that and processed and moved on. And so now I'm asking myself when I'm triggered like that, what am I bypassing? That's it. And I figure it out and I release myself emotionally once I face myself, not everybody else out there. Once I face the discomfort and what's going on inside of me. It's interesting because even just the awareness of it moves it. It's so bizarre how that works. If you deny, distract, delude, whatever you do, it just keeps recycling and it can get intense and intenser and intenser, right? But to actually turn to yourself and examine it and have the awareness of it, it releases so much quicker. So I am, yeah. That's why you're seeing the glow. See, it's being released out into the universe.
Burning it off. It's just coming off of her. Look at that.
I know. What is that? Oh, that's on my phone.
I have no idea. It keeps happening.
Well, I know technically it's probably a setting, an iris setting for how much light it lets in and out. And it automatically detects different things in your screen and then adjusts accordingly. So it's just a setting I think you have to find.
Darn. I wanted to look at it spiritually.
Well,
I think it was your
You might
future,
be
your
right.
future
It might-
self that was like coming in for a moment and going. And see, now the effect's complete because you conveyed the message.
Oh, cool. I like that, Keisha. I like that.
And William, I totally hear you, and I concur that that is also another possibility.
I was giving one side, and I'm glad you gave the other. And there are probably other dimension possibilities too.
So I choose to believe Keisha's rendition. My own.
Me too.
Okay.
Oh,
so
darn, now I have to deal with my anger trigger that I've been ignored. Oh, geez. But it's
Anger, William,
Don't,
angry.
William, don't abandon yourself.
there you go.
We just went over this one.
okay.
There you go.
But I love the thing that you did, Ida, whereas you recognized what it was and then said, okay, but the trigger is over here where I am. I'm the one that's getting triggered. So I need to look at that. What is that? And it reminded me too of there's a guy named Kyle Cease who I like to follow, and he's got a group that he does Wednesday night calls regularly. And if I can't see him in person, I'll watch his recordings. But I've been following him for at least 2 to 3 years. And very often he would say that. He would say, okay, if you are feeling triggered, there's an emotion to the trigger usually. And that is a sign for you to look at something within you, because he was sharing that was something he experienced as well. Is he was feeling, I don't even remember the example now. I think maybe feeling sad because his mother died a couple of years ago and he was missing her, and there was a trigger there for him. And so he thought it was something at first outside of himself, and then he just turned it around and said, no, what is it? What is it within me? And for the most part, a lot of the work that he does with people, which is very much like, we do on the Zoom calls, it's always about looking within and never stifling anything, which is the other point that you made, Ida, is that if I'm feeling angry or if I'm feeling a certain emotion, and it's a very strong emotion especially, is to not only look at it, but to experience it and say, this is not bad or wrong, because, sometimes people will say, don't be angry, get over it.
Yes.
Don't cry, please don't cry. Let the person cry. If they need to cry, let them cry it out. Because once you let it out, it's gone. Like, that's why you said, Ida, it's like, once you did that, it just dissipates so much more quickly.
That's
Cool.
true. But that's a programming. That's what I've been really understanding. So much of what we bypass or how we think or is not from us necessarily. It's a programming. So we haven't been taught actually to turn around and look at ourselves. If you think of the many generations of people that have trained their children to look outside of themselves for everything, for the answer, for, relief, for joy, it's a programming. Because I believe that inside of us is the resilience. Inside of us, we are far more powerful than we've been led to believe. And that's been a conditioning and a programming. So the new way of unlearning, or some people call it unschooling, which I kind of like, is to turn to ourselves. We have the answers, we can tolerate and sit in discomfort. We don't have to leave ourselves because of the discomfort. That isn't going to help us. Do you know? So it's a programming to look outside of ourselves, really.
Absolutely. I agree with that completely too. And it made me immediately think of what you see a lot of times in news stories, like on mainstream media. They'll always say, okay, who's to blame for this? Like, what's the problem? Where do we put this on? Like, who do we put this on? or what do we put this on? It's never looking at what's going on in here. It's always out there. It's always someone else doing it to us. So that's awesome, Ina. Randy.
Yeah, I just adding to what you guys are talking about here is just beautiful because, I think of this channel. Okay, I don't think of this as a group. I think of this channel as an opportunity for us, the authentic ones, the way that we started this thing, we said TAO, the authentic ones, to just, do that release, okay? And do it in public, like eye to eye, like Facebook is cool. We've got our faces on there, and well, I don't anymore, but when Facebook was one of those opportunities for people to come out and say their thing. But man, I've seen this channel just explode with this inner stuff from people, and we go to these words like when we think of the collective and what's going on in the world, which we think of as reality. I don't think of it much as reality. A lot of it is deception. But there's a couple words that often come up, and that's ascension, and what was the other one I was thinking of? You guys just said it. Transition, ascension. Oh shoot, I can't think of the other one. But that's what we're doing as individuals now. We're exposing that instead of coming from the perspective of the outer and talking about a transition or an ascension of mankind, an awakening of humanity, a conscious shift. We're doing that publicly, like just letting it explode on the web right here. And if nobody watches it, who cares? But we're doing it with each other. And I just love that part of this. Like a lot of people on here have really never been on the web before, and some of us have, and we've been, like, I've been blabbing away for like a year and a half or whatever. But the others that have been coming on these shows on this channel has just been beautiful to watch. Every show has got a special thing happening in it, and today it's like Ida's light.
Benjamin raised his hand. I want to recognize Benjamin. He's just you're still on mute, Benjamin. There he is.
Okay. For me, I think there are so many things we have to, like Yoda said in the Star Wars movies, you must unlearn what you have learned. We human beings are creatures of habits, and there are certain routines that we have learned over the years and we have become used to. In order to ascend, some of these, processes that we have learned over the years, which is not helping us, we must, like Yoda said, you have to unlearn all. And that is the difficult part, You always knew that A was the answer. And now they are telling you that no, A was the wrong answer. So choose B. And sometimes it comes with difficulty, accepting the new way of doing, things. And so for me, the unlearning part, it was even difficult for the young guy that Yoda was instructing in the movie. You mean you can levitate stones with your hand? And I say, yeah, you do it. And he did it at a point. And then now Yoda was telling him the same principle. Use the same principle to lift your boat that is stuck in the mud. And the guy was, the swamp. It was stuck in the swamp. And the guy was saying, no, it's impossible. He said, no, it's possible. He said, okay, I'll try. He said, no. We don't do or do not at all. And sometimes that is the way, to go. Do or do not at all. So for me, I believe that there certain things we need to unlearn. And the other day, I was conversing with Randy, and he said, what about if the history that they have told you all along was rather conspiracy, and that the conspiracy theory was the real history? And that set me, thinking. And
Mhm.
most of the
Mhm.
most of the things that we are seeing, that is what it seemed to be. So that's it.
What is true is false, and what is false is true.
True. Yeah.
Inversion. Inversion is a big one. Everything is inverted. If you look at it, that it's inverted and that what you're seeing, just turn it, is it 180 degrees? Yeah, you turn it 180
Wrong.
degrees and you've got somewhat of more of a truth.
Truth, yeah.
There's
Yeah.
another word that I heard this week. You used the word, Randy, ascension, like AS. What I heard was incension.
Oh, I like that.
Isn't that cool?
I love it.
Incension.
Yes. And the word I was looking for when I was doing my little spiel there was disclosure. Okay, so we think that the disclosure is going to come from the outside in, but we're disclosing from the inside out. So it's all
Yeah.
inversion, and I love that word. And incension, good one. Thank you, Ida.
Is that an actual word? Does anyone know, or is that just
It is now.
sense? It is now. Yeah, we created a new word. I know
No, we didn't create it. I heard it. So somebody else did.
Our whole entire consciousness called for incension.
Yes.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum.
They kindly lowered the soccer game volume for me over here. So is that a bit
How
better?
nice. How
That's better.
nice.
awesome.
It was a little ballsy asking the Latin culture to bring down the volume of such, but they were very kind. Pura vida, Costa Rica.
Tico Tico.
What was that, Benjamin?
Tico Tico. Tico. Tico is Costa Rica.
Tico.
I think of tickle, like TICALE. Gets people laughing, you know.
You keep that camera up there on your head, okay, William? Because I'm not going to share what you shared earlier in the week, but I'm just going to say, keep that level up there, okay?
Oh, you're tickling me back. I was feeling motivated. Someone gave me a couple of balloons for my belated
You
birthday.
don't have to disclose. I was just teasing.
Were they helium balloons?
No,
That goes.
no, but I could try that. I'll have to try that and see what happens.
No, don't.
You know, I'm thinking that now they were probably condoms.
What?
Is that what Randy is going on about?
No.
No, I'm not going on about anything. I want William to just stop.
Make sure you've got the right cross there, not the upside down one.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, right. So we've gone on a little tangent. Would anyone like to bring us back, or is this kind of where we want to go? You know, kind of fun.
I actually had Ida, as you were mentioning about going inwards and when something's happening on exterior. Yesterday, I was in an interaction with someone and I realized that there was a lot, a certain perspective that they carried. And this is someone that was new in this lifetime for my exposure to. And in the past, I would have kept myself in the position and felt like I had to give more. And so it was really a breakthrough for me to just go, this is just not working for me. And I'm actually just going to remove myself. And as you were talking about, just looking in, I feel like it was a really good win for me to not abandon myself and to honor what's there, and also just take space in that moment, and still send love and blessings. Like as I was heading on my way, to still say, like, I wish you well, and just letting it be.
Cool.
I
Me really
find
caring
that
for
so
myself.
revolutionary. I find it very revolutionary for many, many people. Like, when I work with people, I say to them, you're here in this moment in relation with another person, and what's going on inside of you right now. And so there's a whole dialogue that goes on, right, in our heads, like this person's an asshole, or this is driving me nuts, or wow, how lovely this person is. But usually people are challenged by other people's difference, right? It's almost like, so it's practice. I always say, like, there was a woman this week that told me that her mother-in-law is constantly, what she perceives is controlling her, right? And I said, so what are you saying to yourself while she's doing these things, right? And she says, I'm saying no, no, no. So so I said, have you ever thought of saying out loud to your mother-in-law, that's a no for me? Like, just simply, that's a no for me. You don't have to be horrible. You don't have to say fuck off. You can just say, that's a no for me, and then leave it.
Mm-hmm.
It's that we're not often engaged in the truth with ourselves. So we don't know how to offer that to somebody else. We feel like it's almost wrong, right? If we're not honoring the other before ourselves. But that couldn't be far from the truth. We have to honor ourselves first. There's going to be resentment and shit if you don't, right? So that's inauthentic, right? That's inauthentic, the resenting. It's because you're
Yes.
not being truthful to you. Anyway, I'm just going on, sorry.
No,
There.
it's beautiful, because what it also reminds me of is how Abraham Hicks, I was listening to a recording,
Oh, yes.
and she was saying how if someone's bringing something to you that, you love this person, you care for this person, you can also just say to them, um, like, I really love and care for you, but in this moment, could you just go away for a while so that I can remember how much I love and care about you, and like just a
Or
way to remove the
Or
self.
you can say, I love and care for you. I need to go away for a while. You don't have
Yes,
to ask them. You can
yes,
just go, right?
exactly. And that's when
Yeah.
I realized it's that it comes back to that simple energy flows where our intention or attention goes. It's like when I had a man in Morocco want to physically grab my body, even though I was directly communicating in eye contact. No, that's not of an interest. And it was like, oh, come on. And hands closer to my body. Something just flipped in me as I was also practicing how to be a peacekeeper and what would the peacekeeper do. And I literally just turned around and I started walking away and just removed myself, and the energy was like, hey, 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 and followed me for a bit. But then eventually, I'm like, oh, I really don't have to give anything to this right now. And that's also what leads into one of my challenges. And back to Abraham Hicks again, is another video she was talking about. You've asked for what you wanted. We've heard you. You've probably asked several times. We've heard you. It's coming, but your attachment to it is so strong that you're actually blocking it from coming in. And so I had to also abandon that ego side that was so wanting to hold on or want, and it was so strong, just running in the background for me. And yeah, so this conversation is helping me just remember to breathe
Yeah.
and
That's
to
a really
continue to
good
speak
point.
my truth.
That's a really good point. You know what happens? Our world is so used to this. Tit for tat, let's engage, da, da, da. In order to get to the place to stand in yourself, you have to slow everything down. That's what your breath is about, right? It's a slowing down process. Okay, let me just slow this all down. I don't have to necessarily jump and respond right now. I'm just going to slow it all down and give myself a chance to figure out how I actually feel in that moment, right? Because we think we have to do this all the time.
Well, let's put it this way, Ida, on a, you know, a collective basis. Let's go to the outer again, and what we've been ingrained into and programmed into is the legal jurisdiction, which is right and wrong, good and bad, bipolar, you know, versus a more polar centered kind of society, which is all about lesser good and more good. You know, instead of using the word bad, even like you can use bad, but then it's how much bad have you got? Is there good bad or more bad or less bad? You know, whatever word you choose. But instead of using the opposites all the time like we do, like that's that victim perpetrator legal jurisdiction that we've been drug into, and we are now collectively and individually pulling our asses out of it. Like it's just, you know, it's beautiful. And saying no, like Keisha said, that's so much easier than no, you fucker, you know, like getting into a battle, getting into that victim perpetrator bullshit. Like just walk away, you know. What would Jesus do? Like we always say, you know, Ida, it's like that's beauty. And I thank you for that. You both, you ladies, that was wonderful. Thank you.
I wanted to attach something else onto that as just something that popped into my head when you guys were sharing, and that was that either doing I think two different things would be helpful, like thinking about my own situation. One would be, yes, definitely, I totally get that slowing down is important and key. And I think that just looking at my own thoughts and my own mind and what goes on when someone else is speaking, there are definitely times when my mind is going 100 miles an hour, but it's not going with what they're talking about. It's going with judgments and thoughts about either them, something they're saying, or something else I have to do in 10 minutes. So I'm thinking about the future, or I'm thinking about the past, or I'm thinking about a previous visit with this person and how that went. And, you know, basically gauging myself in that interaction based on something that's not even in present time. So my thought would be not only to slow yourself down, but to attempt to actually be very present with the person by, I mean, you can't get rid of your noisy thoughts, but you can recognize them and then choose to put them aside and really focus and listen to the other person. And that to me is also a way of slowing down. And if you can, like if the noise is just too great and there's just too much going on, or if there's a feeling inside, kind of relating to what Keisha was saying, if there's a feeling that's going on that just, you know, it's not working for me, what you're talking about right now just isn't clicking, then perhaps that's the time to walk away and just gracefully thank them for the interaction and saying, you know, I'm sorry, but I'm just not grounded here, or I'm not into this conversation right now. Something's going on with me. I think I just need to spend a little time myself. Thank you so much. I hope to see you soon, or whatever it is you want to say, and then complete that conversation and move on from it.
That's beautiful, William. Exactly. You're honoring yourself because all of the noise, right?
Yeah.
And you're not making anybody wrong, including yourself, right?
And
it's
respecting
beautiful.
respecting the other person as well.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
they're listening and say, you know what, I think that they would actually appreciate that, because they're going, okay, no one's ever said that to me before. You know, like I get that you can't focus in on what I'm saying right now. And I appreciate that we're not wasting each other's time by you pretending to be listening to me when you're not really. And so, you know, that might not be communicated, but that might be the thought that they might get when they hear something coming from you about something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I had a conversation with Randy this this week, was it, Randy, that we talked on the phone? And,
Yeah.
and you know, as much as we have similarities, we have very many differences. and not just that, but anyway, so there's stuff he says to me that, you know, can trigger me. So what I've gotten better at practicing, and you may think about this yourself, is I can't answer at that moment, right? I can't answer how I feel about it or what my thoughts are. So I'm starting to say to him, I think I have to go away and do a little bit more thinking about that. Because I can't, I'm so triggered that I can't, right? So
You need to
that's
marinate.
another way. That's another way of doing it, right?
I don't know if you
Yeah.
heard that, Ida. She said, Keisha just jumped in and said, you need to marinate.
But yes, okay, cool. That's another one.
And I really love how one of my favorite humans on the planet trained me or taught me. One of the most simple phrases was pause, because I would have so much happening. But then I really started to integrate into my life, taking my time to listen to my truth. And if it's not there, I'll just say to someone, you know, I don't have that answer right now. And when it surfaces, or if it comes, if there's ever words that come, then I'll let you know. And then I just leave it at that. And then it might come moments later, it might come a month later, it might come years later. But just honoring, like, as coming back to what you were saying about honoring our truth in the moment. And even if someone else doesn't get that, that's not for us to do anything with. We can just, you know, present
Yeah,
whatever's
cool.
there. And I
Very
didn't
cool.
do it as eloquently as William said last night, you know. So as you were sharing those words, I went, something in me was just like, no, okay. And then on the way out, I did my best to, like, okay, and blessings, and I wish you well, and just.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's sometimes just the thought or the expression kind of can say it all too. I really related to what you just said, or just not what you said so much as the reaction. The you know, it's like, okay, I get it. All right, yeah, I'm there. I'm with you. I can recognize that feeling for sure.
My father was, you know, swore a lot and things like that. I don't know, like, it doesn't pass on genetically, I know, but he'd hold back with people when he, you know, how in the old days, one of these fingers would come up, right? So his practice was to let this one come up. And it was him holding back, you see?
An outward expression of the inward.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we've even touched upon the actual question that we were talking about today, but I'm always open for wherever this goes. But just as a reminder, the question today was, what is one of your current challenges and what is it showing you? Does anyone feel something from that statement revisited? I will say one thing too, Ida, just something that Keisha said about pausing. I also got the key importance of the breath. Sometimes just taking a deep breath before you answer someone back is so important. It just grounds you and centers you, and then you're able to speak from a calmer place.
Well, I think, William, you know, you answered your own question there. Like, it's, you know, we're talking about personal communication of more than the outer right now, but it's the same for the outer. It's like, take a breath rather than judge what's going on with, you know, the United States or the Vatican or London or City of London, like I do on my channel. You know, like I let rep, you know, should I just, sorry, Ida, I shit all over myself there. So I'm gonna take that. Could I possibly, you know, take a step back and just relax a little bit? And I do, you know, I like to do it on my channel and let it rip, but in in private, like I've had to be extremely patient. I mean, through this process, and we're seeing so much beautiful uh, progress every day. And I mean, I got a phone call from one of many insiders that I really trust this morning, and it was just recognition once again that this trilogy is failing. You know, the deceivers in Washington, the deceivers in the Vatican, and the deceivers in the city of London, within the city of London, which is where my story all began in the banking world. Probably, God, it's got to be 6 7 years ago, way before I got involved at what I'm doing now. I went to the city of London speaking with a lawyer about investment, and he said, well, you're going to have to bring some. The day before, I had my flight plans all in place and everything, and this was a major investment, not talking, you know, the banking business that I do now on the humanitarian and funding side, but this was still back in the investment searching days. And this guy said to me, you're going to have to bring some to break the ice and get into the city of London, which is the inner city of London, where all this stuff happened ed. And I said, oh, I'll meet you at the airport, but we're not playing that game. And he didn't show up. So I had a wonderful trip to Buckingham Palace, and, you know, first time to London. So I wandered around for the day and flew home the next night and got a good lesson into that whole world, right? So it's been that many years of, and then seeing it from the inside of how much is going on there. And a lot of people will talk about the elites and the people with money as the bad guys, you know, in this good guy, bad guy mentality of the outer. But it's not. Well, I can't say it's not completely. There's probably some people that are very fearful of losing their money, so they try and hold on to even more and more and more. But most of it has just simply been blocking, and, you know, blocked accounts and off ledger accounts, they call it in our world. And it's just, that's what's opening up. And there's nothing can stop it anymore. The people that deceived humanity at that level of governed mind, above the governed minds, you know? So I call it the dildobergs, but you know what I mean by that. Like, it's just, I got to make fun of them because there's nothing else I can do. I can't blame them. I can't get angry with them anymore, which I did to start with. So now I'm getting into what's trapped me, or what did you say the question was, William, along the lines of what's challenged me?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
it's always been a challenge for me to not judge those central bank, World Bank, BIS, IMF, you know, the United Nations, it's all connected, right? And it's all a private organization that is blocking and suppressing and not allowing this abundance to flow. And I talk abundance in a monetary sense, I know, but it's the truth. Like, there is no limit to the amount of abundance that's waiting to just come flying through to humanity. And instead of blocking it at those two levels, the central bank, Federal Reserve, World Bank level, or the governed mind level, as in the, you know, these corporate entities that masquerade as our leadership, it's really been a challenge. And, you know, when I talk to the people inside, I say to them, God, you guys, you know, I think the last thing we can do here is give them love, you know, give them that compassion and see what happens with that, because there's nothing we can fight about it. They've got this position, and they've used it for so long, but it's that collective ascension that's happening, and that, you know, what would Jesus do kind of attitude that's coming through more and more people every day. And if it spreads from myself and the group that I'm working with that are very Christed light individuals, or if it's coming from others, it's happening, and we see it, and it's just fantastic. So
So
there's no
Randy,
challenge. It was all in my mind.
can
Yes.
I ask you a question about this? Because it's also about what people believe that shapes how they kind of behave, right? So do the people at that level that you're talking about have the same belief as you? do they believe there's unlimited abundance, even though they may be shitload wealthy, sitting on whatever they're sitting on? Do they believe that if they allow the floodgates to open, that even if they give all their stuff to the floodgates, that they're going to be able to have more? Like, do they believe that there is this unlimited abundance? Because maybe if they don't believe that, they're afraid to let go of theirs.
Yeah, that's a good question, Ida. And I mean, I think I said earlier too that some are and some aren't. You know, like there's still fearful ones, and there's more fear at that level than there is in the eyes and in the minds of people that have nothing. You know, so
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. They may not have the same belief system as you. They may not believe in this unlimited abundance. So they're afraid that if, even though they've got a shitload, that if they let that shitload go, how are they going to get more coming into them if they don't believe that there's unlimited abundance?
yes, and that's right. And like you've said to me a couple times in the past, there's nobody else that talks about debt being an illusion anywhere.
It's true.
So so I can't argue with what you're saying, but when you're talking about, like, I deal with people that have, you know, even Canadian uh, businessmen that have offshore accounts that are blocked by CRA. Okay, and these are huge amounts of money that they want to put into projects in Canada that is just blocked by CRA. I've been dealing with people like that for years. And then you go up to this next level of the man that I spoke with this morning, for instance, who's bought and traded and funded humanitarian projects all over the world that nobody ever hears about, because they aren't going to announce that kind of stuff on the media, because then
No.
it screws with the whole government global agenda. But that is the truth. And he has so much money that, you know, it makes Bill Gates look like a freaking peanut salesman at a junior baseball team's baseball game. You know, like, there's so much out there, you guys, that it's just phenomenal. And, you know, so do they believe like I do that there's unlimited abundance? There's probably very few, Ida. But
Yeah.
is there people with oodles of money that want to invest in projects that's been suppressed and blocked by the central bank Federal Reserve System? By all means. That was where the biggest challenge was, okay? And until we can get a politician to stand up and start talking about that, I have no use for politics. And that's why I can't support, you know, what's going on in the US, because nobody's talking about it. And it just pisses me off. And I mean, you know, that's a challenge for me to stay out of that then, you know, and stay out of that looniverse, as I call it. But it's okay. You know, I know from my position that we don't have to concern ourselves anyway. It's going to be fine. But, you know, that's just my spot.
Keisha, did you want to jump in? I see you sent us a link.
Yes, so I sent a link on that topic just now. I haven't finished watching, but it was one of those ones that uh, show how everything was rigged and whatnot. It's like a 2 hour long. I was just like 8 minutes in before I jumped on the call here. So that's that link. But what came up is you were both talking, Ida and Randy, is the reminder of nature, that all there is to do is remind people to look around at nature and what it produces consistently and continues to, and really come back into sharing. This Puerto Viejo, where I lived for 2 years in the past and where I just came from this morning into San Jose, I was thinking, wow, a small town like this, how wonderful would it be? There's farmers everywhere. There's tons of land. It's jungle. There's tons of abundance. What would it be like if all the hotels and everyone stopped functioning the way that they've been functioning and came together and said, okay, we're going to welcome however many, 1,000 people. This is how much space we have. And everyone that comes in who wants to learn how to live naturally, or, you know, just start having people come in and share what we have instead of perpetuating the same old system as before. So having pockets of places, and I mean, I'm sure you guys have all come across people or places or heard of groups that end up being called a cult or whatnot because they're so different, but ultimately people coming together, just living in harmony in big groups and sharing and farming. And you know, it's so simple sometimes, and it's like, so what's confusing or what's stopping? Like, we're such powerful creators. All there is to do is like, okay, cool, I've got this space, how could we come together and be the unity and be that cooperation and tribe, united, as opposed to like, I gotta, me, myself, and mine are okay, but I don't know. Yeah, that's what was coming up for me.
Hmm.
And that we are all nature also. Like, we are all
Yes.
just like the tree, and we're just
Randy's a tree for sure.
what kind? Is
I
he an
don't know.
oak?
Ask him.
I don't know. I did a past life regression last week, and I, by myself, like I didn't have anybody participate. And at first I thought I was a monkey, but then I realized, no, I'm just the tree. So that's what I was talking about. Just like these big trees over here. Look at these big trees, Ida. They're huge.
See? Wait. There, yeah. Cool.
I mean,
Amazing there. To see that, holy smokes, to see that when you open your eyes. Wow.
some of them were mushrooms, some of them were, some of them were bushes, but quite a few of them were trees. It's all biological.
Some of them were your cousins.
Yes. My sisters. The ones behind me over here are called the three sisters.
Wow. That's what I call the trees in my forest too, the sisters. Isn't
Cool.
that okay? There we go again.
Perfect.
Just to let you guys know, we've been joined by our wolf moon gal, Randy's
nice.
friend, and
Hello.
she's fairly new to us. So I'm going to try to unmute her myself. Let's see if I can do it. I can only ask her to unmute, it looks like. So we'll see if she can figure it out or not. But if there's a microphone,
Hello.
there you are. Hi.
Hi. I'm sorry. It's
Hi.
very quiet.
Our
I
sound
can't
is
hear
very
you
quiet?
guys very well. So
Then you'll have to do all the talking.
oh gosh, no. I just came to say hi and meet this group. So I was just happy to listen.
Cool. Well, keep on listening then. And I don't know if you can crank up your volume at all. We don't have, I don't think we have a control on volume for someone else's phone, but
I'll put on my headset.
we'll talk loud, and if it's too loud, let us know. I haven't heard anything from Anya, and I wanted to check in with her because she always has these wonderful wisdom insights that she shares near the end of the calls when I call on her. But I always feel I often feel guilty calling on her because I'm not sure if she's ready to jump in. And is it Anna or is it Anya? I wanted to know that too.
It's the official one is Anna.
Okay.
Officially it's Anna. Yeah. So I'm gonna share a little funny story to what you just said. That if you're not sure if you should call me or not. The first time Lee invited me to this group, and he knows how I am about speaking publicly. That it's not the it's not my strength, let's put it this way, right? And he's like, you don't need to say anything. You just can come and just sit there and listen. And don't worry, you don't have to say anything. I'm like, okay, cool. If I don't have to say anything, I'll go. And then by the end of the call, William is calling on me. And I'm like, okay, that's gonna be awkward if I'm not gonna say anything. And then afterwards, we talk with Lee, and Lee is like, William wasn't given the script that Anna might not want to say anything. So here I am. Now it's like a tradition that I'm speaking at the end every time. But it's funny because I kind of, all the words that come in the meeting are soaking in, and somehow you say that it's the words of wisdom, which is a lot of, a big compliment for me that you think in this way. But
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And I'm not known as a liar either. I mean that honestly. You shared some amazing things in our past calls. So I love it. And I'm sure I'm not
Yes.
alone in that feeling.
Yes.
thank you.
I'm in agreement.
Thank you so much, guys.
We
Thank
saved the best for last, Anna.
Okay, let's do it then. So, what was the question? What is my current challenge, right?
Yeah.
Can you,
Yeah, that's right. What is your current challenge and what is it showing you?
so, my current challenge is, and I'm gonna come back to the beginning to what I was saying about other people. The concept of the trigger, and that the trigger that I see in other people is actually within me. It's not a new thing for me, okay? And right now, I came back to Poland for some time. Actually, my ticket back to the US was for January 20th. Okay?
Oh.
I have no idea how I was buying this ticket, that I bought it for the January 20th, but obviously I didn't know. I rescheduled. But when I realized what I did, it was so funny that I was like, how could I be so unconscious buying this ticket? Like, how did I even do that, It's impossible to pick this exact day. But I'm like, and to the last moment, I was like, no, I'm going, right? No, I'm not going. Of course, I'm not going. So I rescheduled. But I am living right now with my family, with my father. And there is like a shitload of triggers.
I was going to say, as soon as you said you were living with family, I thought, oh my God, talk about
Yeah.
triggers.
Because last couple of years, I was living by myself, and I really needed this time on my own. I unpacked a lot of trauma. I've done a lot of healing on my own. But there is this famous saying, if you feel that you're enlightened, go and live with your family for a week. And this is exactly what I'm doing right now. Like, I'm looking at myself, how not enlightened I am, and I see all the places where I'm lacking healing, actually. And I don't know if you guys seen this meme with Drake. There is Drake on this, it's a famous meme. and it goes, you're pissing me off, and he's pointing at other people with his face, and the other part says, I'm pissing myself off through you. And that's exactly what it is. It's never the other people. It's always us, and it's always this part that is unhealed, but is still, for some reason, resonating with that part that pointing at us where the healing needs to be done. It's never other people. It's never the circumstances. It's never them, because if we put it them and me, we put ourselves in the position of victim and perpetrator.
Yeah.
It's always the same structure. It's always the same system, right?
Yep.
And then if you look at it, it's not about them, it's about me. Then you have to ask yourself, what about me? What is really this part about? What was I bypassing? What didn't I want to look at for so long that is coming up and coming up and coming up and coming up? And many times it is the programming, it is us, it is the trauma that happened in our life. But many times, and that's the modality I work with, it's the trauma that happens generation before us. But these traumas are so deeply rooted, and they are written deeply in our cellular memory, that it is so hard to spot them and to see them on our own, that it's good to have some outside help, because people who work with other people, they're gonna spot it like that, and they're gonna tell you why. Why are you suffering? Why are you still in this circle? Why are you running in circles?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what is that you don't see? What I do, the last one, thanks to the fact that I'm here in Poland, I was able to add another modality to my healing modalities, and it's systemic constellations, or other call it family constellations, where people come together. I do it one-on-one as well, but my people, and I'm saying Polish people, have this generational trauma of war, of the Holocaust.
Yes.
And now, 3-4 generations after, we start to be able to look at it, because our parents, our grandparents, it was impossible for them to look at it because it was too big, too heavy. And I'm not even saying the people who survived, because these people would have to confront themselves with feelings that were so heavy that the feeling itself was able to kill you. The emotion itself was able to kill you. the trauma. So they obviously had to bury it for some time. And now we are unpacking it. So to wrap it up, I want to tell to people who might be watching us, if you're running in circles and you know that you did the work on yourself and you still don't know what is the problem, where are you missing something, ask your ancestors for help, because there is a lot of traumas. And I'm not saying it's only the war trauma, the Holocaust trauma. It's the slavery. We all have all kinds of bullshit running in our families. That it can be murder, it can be suicide, it can be anything that is weighing. It's a heavy weight on our family system that you are carrying, and you are living with this weight, and you don't even know that it's this thing that you're carrying on your shoulders. So if you're running in circles, again, stop. What Keisha was saying, pause, stop, and stop even trying. Stop taking this with your logical mind. Just stop and remove yourself. Look within your body, what your body is telling you. What is the first emotion that you feel in your body, and where is it? And ask your ancestors for help and for guidance. Where is it coming from? Because big chance, it's not yours. It's not yours. And this way, you will be able to take yourself one step further.
Hallelujah.
I think
Thank you.
I think that's it from me for now.
Oh, nice relaxing holiday, no problem at all, right? Just a piece of cake. Did anyone feel inspired with any other thoughts or feelings that came out of Anna's sharing? I think we're getting to the point now, it's starting to feel like I'm ready to wrap this up. Does anyone would like to say any final words before we close the conversation for today?
Keisha.
Keisha.
Yes. I really appreciate what was coming up for me was my own cycle of what I'd referenced earlier, and wanting something so much to the point where even when I would say let go, and meditate and okay, clear, it was like my consciousness was locked in on stubborn, I guess I could call it, or just locked in such a way that was so habitual that it was like, yes, I heard you, let go, and yes, I heard you, it'll happen when it happens, but like, and it was like doing this though, like, yeah, I heard you. If I just hang on a little longer though, it's gonna come. And then so the past bit has just been like, okay, let's release that. And I appreciate the reminder for checking in with ancestors and asking them for guidance also, because I know that to have been a really big help. And I'll often ask for what would you do differently, or what is wisdom from the past that can assist me to transmute whatever I'm carrying that's not working for the highest good of all of consciousness, essentially, in order to, yeah, just transmute the old and the forward. Yeah, that's what's cool. And thank you for sharing. That's what I got, William.
Thank you, Risha. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up today. Thank you so much for your contributions and your sharing and your time and your love and your wisdom and everything else that I missed. It's all been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See ya.
Take care, everybody.
Love you
Bye.
guys.
To consciousness.